It opens with a gate of art, moves into windows of creativity.
She finds the only English word she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of a 4'9" body, and instead of "I won't care," she greets us with "bye-bye."
Branches into rooms of color, and ends with a roof of imagination. Walk into Art House. The pieces all come together at 9:30 p.m. every Saturday. Art House, life is art.
Welcome back to Sunrise today, but just before we continue in that theme, let's get back to what we talked about in the opening sequence, the development about the killing of Mamadou, the 500 level student of Medical Lab Tech, University of Benin. Well, Osifo Osasere joins us this morning from Benin via phone. He's the Student Union Government President of University of Benin. Morning, and thank you for joining us again now, and hopefully you should hear this one. What's the current development there? What are the students doing about this matter?
Morning. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Currently, as it stands now, the students of the school is waiting for the outcome of the ongoing investigation by the men of the Nigerian police force. Like, even some hours ago, the CP called me to inform me that they will be having a press conference to inform the whole world how far they've gone with the investigation. That the people and the oddly involved in the case have both been suspended and all and all. So I think as of yesterday, the cost of Ibrahim Momondo was resumed for pathological analysis and autopsy. So right now the students are calm waiting for the outcome of the investigation.
Okay, but you saw the previous report before the family eventually spoke up. I mean, when did the students, or when did you learn about what actually happened?
So I didn't get that.
When did you learn of what actually happened? Was it before the family or afterwards?
No, the family alerted us of what happened. We learned after the family. Yeah, so we learned after the family.
What about the school authority? Have they issued any statements? What do they think of what's going on?
Hello?
The school authority, have they said anything?
The school authority has also reacted officially, so it is everything.
All right then, so we'll just let us know whatever happens hereafter, but thank you for speaking with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.
Is the President of Student Union Government, University of Benin. But we'll get back to our theme now with this report.
Lawmakers in the lower house gathered for their midterm appraisal of the 7th House of Representatives. The Speaker of the House, in a modest speech, spoke on the success of his colleagues, even in the midst of challenges.
The House has been able to expose corruption, inefficiency and waste in governance. Huge sums of money running into trillions of naira have been saved as a result of the robust oversight regime currently in place. Major investigative hearings into fundamental issues were conducted in the period under review, amongst which are fuel subsidy regime, aviation, capital market, non-remittance of revenues by MDAs, and non-implementation of annual budgets.
For Professor Jonah Elago, a political scientist, despite the fact that the legislature has suffered greatly as an arm of government, Owing to several years of military rule, there's still room for some commendation of the lower house.
The House has been very meticulous in screening the executive's budgetary proposals and its record of budget implementation. From evidence available to me, as an old teacher, I will rate the House 65%, which is a B+ and a second-class upper.
Human rights activist Mr. Femi Falana, who also commended the lawmakers, didn't hesitate to appeal to them to take the issue of the emergency rule in the northeast part of the country seriously.
Some political interests, partly out of ignorance, have questioned the National Assembly for endorsing or for approving the state of emergency imposed on 3 states in the country. I'm saying this because it is very important for all of us that the provisions of the Constitution, particularly Section 305, are not meant for decoration. That provision says, if there is a breakdown of law and order in any part of the country or in the entire federation, the president can impose the emergency rule so as to adopt extraordinary measures to restore law and order.
It does appear that the 7th House of Representatives have a lot more to achieve in the next 2 years. But at least for now, Nigerians can take solace with the fact that the lawmakers present aren't ignorant of the people's hopes and aspirations for a better democracy.
Well, Achike joins us now. He's a public affairs analyst to shed some light on what's going on. Perhaps not heat. Madam, thank you for coming on today. But interestingly, the professor gives 65. That's a B+. And I know about some institutions where you hardly will see a prof give you a B+. Even when you get an A, the Senate states they review the grades. But in this case, from what you've seen, what would your assessment be?
Well, I think the beauty of this midterm assessment is that all the organs or the institutions of government have given themselves pass mark. The judiciary has fared well from what they say, the executive has done wonderfully well, and then the legislature. So you ask yourself, why are things not working, and most importantly, why are Nigerians not happy with their institutions?
Who will fail themselves?
Well, that is the issue, and I think the president emphasized on that when he was talking about his own scorecard, and talked about the need not to run away from being subjective and so on. And of course, he also walked into a trap that he had set, by also assessing his own administration and giving it a pass mark, subjective, and that is also what you see on the floor of the National Assembly, scoring themselves so well. Well, the prof has given them a 65. I do not think that his scoring of the National Assembly might be in tandem with that of Nigerians, especially when you consider the fact that in most cases the National Assembly has always been looked at from the prism of the controversies that they have been enmeshed in most of the time, and so that will weigh always heavily in the minds of the Nigerian people. That it does not, that is not to say that there are things that they have. That they cannot be commended for certain things that they have done. Some of the issues enumerated by the speaker, during the oversight functions, then, some of the discoveries that they have made, especially with funds of, the government that were, being diverted to other sources.
Yeah, he used the word expose corruption, inefficiency.
Well, to some extent, they have been able to do that. Also, at the same time, getting enmeshed in the same corruption. In the process of, exposing corruption, they also got enmeshed in,
which one?
of course, you would know the, fuel subsidy issue, the Hembe issue, okay. And then and some of the other things, in the process of trying to, hunt corruption, they became hunted in the process.
But what about the explanation that Mr. Mohammed gave? He put it in that context, and look, well, yes, there are certain rules that guide our conduct and behavior, and so they learned from what transpired with the Dino Melaye case, and so they were restricted somewhat, if I get his point properly.
But I remember that a question was also asked him. I think it was Mobe that asked him that question, whether, you know, the case was thrown out as a result of,